Welcome everyone to the Brady Breakdown Survivor Edition. Here we are talking about Survivor Season 50, Episode 5, Open Wounds. This episode aired recently and we are here to break it down. As far as this episode goes, I feel that it's one of the mid-tier episodes, kind of in the middle, some good, some kind of okay. But we're here to talk about it. We got some old wounds, some bad blood, and a double tribal that actually delivers. I am Justin, and I am here with my co-host, Rachelle. How are you doing today?
So good. I think the thing I liked about this episode is it sets us up for a merge, and I'm excited for that. So, plus, who doesn't love a double elimination?
Yeah.
The stakes are high, and people are tense.
Yeah. The tension was in the air, and it was great. So we'll get into that a little bit. But with the double tribal format going into tribal council, they had to do the elimination immunity challenge. And so that was fun to watch. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about the fallout from the Mike White vote. How that went down with the teammates that were left behind. And we get to see more of one of the other tribes.
Yeah. I like this episode.
So Vatu returns from the Mike White Blindside. Azie was reacting pretty much how I felt after that.
People gave him a little bit of a hard time, but his reaction was absolutely warranted. He was blindsided. He thought he had a great alliance and he wasn't kept in the loop.
Yeah.
And people just kept saying, well, I didn't want him to tip off Mike.
Yeah.
And I can see that because we have seen over and over in Survivor history where somebody does tell the target and then they are able to scramble and turn it around and get someone else out. So I see that logic. Still, an alliance should be
honored.
Telling, yes. So I can see why he was frustrated.
So yeah, he was feeling a lack of trust. He reacted poorly, very angrily that night, but then the next morning he woke up, had his little Zen moment and felt better, and him and Christian hugged it out.
Yeah, and you know what? He acknowledged that he was emotional about it and apologized, and I thought that was the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. We'll see later in the episode that Christian is really frustrated with his reaction and that, he's like, I can't believe that he got so upset and would react in this way. And I thought, really?
Yeah.
No, he acted exactly like you would act in that same circumstance. And his reaction did match the level of betrayal that they had given him. So Christian was, calling him off the rocker, but really it was absolutely reasonable, and Christian was the one that is trying to downplay how much of a betrayal it was, but it was.
Yeah.
So.
And I think Christian's running this tribe right now, Vatu. He's been calling all the shots for the last couple of episodes.
He sure has. It's. I don't know how he has that much power, to be honest.
Yeah. I think him and Emily are doing a good job with that. So.
Well, the only reason I think he has power is because he is not seen as a threat.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because the very nature of his influence means he should be seen as a threat. And yet he hasn't been seen as a threat. It's a paradox in Survivor where, especially in Survivor 50, where we know so many of the players already and we've seen them perform very well previously. So they come in with a power and people immediately want to put them in that category of threat. And what that does is then it puts those that are in less of a category of a threat as not being a threat. And so then they skate by for a while.
Yeah.
Just like we saw Angelina do for several episodes.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting what you do and don't consider a threat, because the truth is every single player is a threat.
Let's get into Operation Bad Blood. They've been kind of teasing that a little bit over the last couple episodes, and it comes to fruition here between Charlie and Rizzo. We talked in the past about how Charlie seems to be really fixated on this one time, and reasonably so, because it's how he got eliminated. His number one turned on him, and so he has old wounds, right? Rizzo discloses something earlier, he gets mad, and then he starts to target him for just some reason from not even involving Rizzo, really. So how do you think this played out? We know why Charlie is after Rizzo, but Rizzo's motive seems kind of, I don't know, what do you think about his motivation to get Charlie out?
Well, I think Rizzo wants a target, and Rizzo's game is drama.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that Charlie and Rizzo are the two youngest players in this game, which is unusual. Usually there are quite a few players in their age bracket, but in Survivor 50, they are the two youngest players. Dee is the only other player in her 20s. And it's funny, Charlie almost looks at Rizzo as if he's the young guy, and he's only 1 year younger than him. So that's really funny. But I think Rizzo has picked up on this superiority that Charlie has, just because Charlie has played in a game before, and actually Rizzo has too. It's just no one's seen it yet.
Yeah.
While Charlie knows he's played before, he's never seen him play before. Mm-hmm. So he is still looking at him as like the rookie. You know, Rizzo is, and rightfully so, seeing Charlie as his main competition, which, you know, they are in the same age bracket, kind of very similar situations where they don't have this 25 year, 10 year survivor, you know? And I think Rizzo really does just like drama.
Like he said in the episode that he likes to play with women.
Like
He went far with women in his last season. And he's kind of acting like a woman.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, she's the competition. I got to take her out. Very petty almost. Catfighting, yes. And so, whereas the guys, you know, on the other hand, you got Joe and Colby and Coach. They're all broing it out.
Yeah.
And even Jonathan and Rick, who are also kind of a little bit like Devins. Rick Devins are kind of like that.
Because the truth is, Rizzo can't compete with these really manly men, right? He even says he's not a man's man, right? Yeah. He does fit in a little bit better with the women. He's a weak player. He's said over and over he didn't come here to clean and to work hard. You know, he's just here for the ride and for the drama, and almost to like create quote unquote besties that he can align with.
Yeah.
And although I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him, he will probably betray all of them. He's already been lying up and down, and they're not buying it, that's the great thing, is that we can see like Camila didn't believe his story at all, and he thinks that he's got it right in the palm of his hand, which is, you know, I love how that comes out in Tribal Council as well, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And Suri, previous to this episode, she was like really Riz God. That's who we got on this season.
Yeah.
So she wasn't buying into him. And now she's like sitting on the hammock and like they're talking strategy. And I think that's just part of her game. So he thinks he got Suri too, but Suri's playing him.
Well, she is. And actually she knows that she is considered a threat. So she needs somebody to align with. She says it herself, you know, she wasn't feeling very secure, and now that she's got Rizzo looking to align with her, at least she feels like she has some alliance. So, and it's not that she necessarily likes Rizzo, but she needs an alliance, right? She needs
some support.
Yeah.
Some shields.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone goes to the immunity challenge.
Yep.
As the next step, right? We got the 3 teams and pretty fun challenge to watch this time. It looks like Kahlo's going to lose because they started out slow, but they ended up winning. So pretty exciting challenge overall. What did you think of the design and kind of the competition level on this one?
I thought this was a really phenomenal challenge. It had quite a few different types of obstacles. Like they had to swim, they had to climb a tower, they had to untie lots of knots, dig a hole under a fence to get through, unlock the keys, and then at the very end, as if that wasn't all enough, then they had to a very different type of challenge where they had to get bean bags on these very narrow little pedestals at differing angles and heights, and it was a very evening out
it was
type
equalizer there at the end. Yeah.
And so where Kahlo had been very far behind, there were many opportunities to equalize in the challenge, which made it very exciting because one team wasn't a shoo-in, and there was so much at stake. There was only going to be one winner this time, and every other challenge there have been 2 winners.
Yeah.
So the stakes were high. Several of the other players had never been to Tribal Council.
Yeah.
So they knew that a lot more people were going to go to Tribal Council tonight. And so the stakes were high, and it made for a lot of intense play. There were some really good moves. There were some slower moves. But in the end, it really was about the luck of which beanbag landed on its pedestal, and not something you can necessarily practice for that at that point.
Yeah.
It wasn't about brawn, it was about patience and could you make the shot?
Yeah. So Kahlo
took it.
took it. They won. They avoided tribal council.
Yep. But this was actually, I loved this. I thought this was really a nice diversion in this episode. Previously, we did see a lot of players not have to go to tribal council, so it was nice to be able to see the dynamic in another tribe as now they're required to see who is a real alliance and who really is going to be playing on which side. The story on Vatu, kind of the same old. Yeah. We finally got Angelina out. Well, okay.
Yeah, big deal.
Kind of bored about that. But Sela, because Camila's on Sela now, that became the deciding fact. She became the deciding vote. Was she going to vote with the girls and Rizzo, or was she going to vote with her original alliance, which was Jonathan, Charlie, Devins, and Camila? And she went with the girls.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think she was a deciding factor, but I think Dee kicked it off because she was talking with Rizzo.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're in an alliance and they're getting all the girls and it's a girls thing. So that was interesting.
Yep.
But I don't trust her either. I think it's just for now.
Oh, I think Dee is that. I think that it's absolutely. This is we've got to go to tribal council tonight, and what am I going to do?
Yeah, who are we going to sacrifice?
Yeah. Yep. I don't see. I agree with you. I don't see this alliance lasting very long. Yeah. What it did do though was it put Jonathan and Rick on a very precarious. Yeah. In a very precarious place, and now they're wondering if they have the numbers, which they thought they did,
Yeah, you could see it on their faces there at the end.
Yeah.
They're just like, what just happened? And what does that mean for us?
Yeah. Now they've realized that they don't have the numbers, and now they're going to have to scramble. But actually, as we know, next episode is,
it's the merge.
It's the merge. So everybody will be able to form new alliances, and there's going to be a bit more drama. So it's fine. And I'll tell you what, Jonathan is one of my favorite players.
Yeah, he's turning into one of mine too.
He's a beast.
Yeah, he's killing on those challenges. And he's just like a good guy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure he wants to play a different game this time, but you can trust him.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
As much as you can trust anybody on this show.
Which is interesting. We've seen players in Survivor previously, big guys like that, who have not been able to play very well because they just could not get enough nutrients, just enough calories to sustain their big bodies. And somehow he's pulling it off. He figured out what he needs to eat because he is just going for it. And it is very, very fun to watch him.
Yeah, I like it. But we've talked about those two tribes. Let's talk about the other one with Coach. They featured him.
Oh my goodness, Coach is so full of crap.
He's the Dragon Slayer, and so he's got to come up with nicknames for the other bros in this tribe, right? What'd you think of the nicknames? I think that was like Stone Bell or something.
It's all completely made up. He acts like he's this wise man that he knows all of this Japanese lore, and he just made it all up.
Yeah.
He
Tidal Walker.
It's
Walker.
No such thing.
Yeah.
And then he's like knighting them, you know. But hey, listen, everybody likes to be complimented. Yeah. Everybody likes to be singled out in the positive way, right? Coach is playing this game of a lot of flattery, and that's what it was, right? Yeah. It was very flattering to both Joe and Colby, who are in this position where they are the man's man. And they like this alliance where they can play with honor. So by Coach using this tactic of knighting them, right, he's kind of playing into this whole like honor code type thing. And almost now they have an obligation to Coach because now they're like connected by this knighthood. Mm-hmm. So it's a really good strategy on Coach's part, and he's totally full of crap, you know. And I kind of think that they can see right through it.
Yeah. I think I could tell if I had to make a bet, I would bet that at least Colby is like, okay, cool, but this is weird.
Yeah.
What are you
like,
trying
whatever.
to manipulate me? And I think Joe was a good actor, but I still think he saw through it, I guess. So
Joe came from a position in his old tribe where he was on the outside, right? People did not want to have to play this honor game. And so I guess it's significant for him to be among peers who like that game instead of disliking that gameplay style. So he is eating it up. Whether or not he believes it, it's still a positive for him because in one way or another, it's acceptance of his gameplay strategy.
Yeah, he can relate to it. But I do think he sees through it, or sees it for what it is.
Yeah.
So I think that's good.
I mean, how can you not see that Coach is full of crap?
Yeah. And Aubrey went to him. We get to see some Aubrey-Coach interaction because she doesn't trust Genevieve. And so she's like, hey, Coach. And so Coach is like, yeah, I'll bring her in. I'll reel her in and play with her. And I think he just sees that as another opportunity in case it goes that route.
Yep.
So
yeah,
Coach is playing smart.
He is playing smarter than he has
though.
Before. It's pretty cheesy. Yeah.
So I don't know how people, could you play with someone who's cheesy, but yet you can still trust them for the most part? Would that work for you, or?
I don't know if I could actually trust him because we've seen him, I mean, ever since he did Azie dirty in that competition where he talks a lot about playing with honor, but then he didn't play with honor and he wouldn't acknowledge it. And that for me I would not consider him trustworthy because of that. If he would have said, hey, I played by the rules.
Yeah. That would have been better.
That would have been true.
Yeah.
But he kept saying that he was playing with honor and he stole the keys. Like, that's not playing with honor. It was playing by the rules, but it was not playing with honor.
Yeah.
So sometimes the rules don't prohibit actions that are not ethical, and I think that was the case. So I don't think I wouldn't be able to trust him. Mm-hmm. Now, you probably shouldn't trust anybody in Survivor.
Right. Yeah. Even your number one.
Yeah.
So, but Rizzo, back to Rizzo a little bit, he told pretty much everybody he has an idol. Or there's a Billie Eilish idol, and then he told a couple people he has it.
He would be my number one to get him off the game.
Yeah. I wonder if Camila was like, sure, I'll play this round with you, but you're coming up. Your number's coming up.
We'll see. I hope so. Camila's pretty smart.
Yeah, she's very smart.
She does play along. Like, she is playing along. I think she doesn't, I know she doesn't feel any alliance towards Rizzo, so she evaluated it as her best option for this vote, and we'll see what she does later. She doesn't trust him either, and it's just like Everett was like, please, the Riz God, like, oh my goodness.
He has to spell it out every time.
Yeah.
Rizgod. Riz God.
Like,
that's how he was last season too.
Yeah.
So it's just, I guess
he's just,
how many times we got to hear Riz God? How many times we got to spell it? It just gets old.
We heard several of he's just so arrogant in his confessionals. And I've got to believe that he's like that when he's amongst the group as well, saying maybe not to that extent, but you can't erase that attitude. So I've got to believe that there's lots of eye rolling in the camp. You know what I mean?
We saw not necessarily eye rolling, but there was a moment where he's talking and he's saying and spouting his stuff, and you kind of have Camila, at least the way they edited it. Camila's like there, just like. Her eyes are just like, how much longer do I have to listen to this guy?
Yeah, she sees right through him, Yeah.
So I think her and Suri they're just waiting for their moment to get rid of him. They don't trust him.
Yep.
So, again, Billie Eilish idol, I'm tired of hearing that phrase. Please get rid of these idols so we don't have to hear that name anymore. I wonder if there's any more idols, because no one's had a chance to use them because the nature of them, they're not going to be used for a while.
No, and I think I would be really surprised to see them actually boomerang.
That's just, yeah. So I think the whole concept is disappointing.
Yeah.
Because you want something, like, you want to have those type of things come out.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, they almost had him, but she used her idol and didn't get voted out,
You want them to be played.
Yeah. And then there hasn't really been any other gameplay items, like the shot in the dark. It was mentioned this time. With Christian. What do we think about Christian giving Azie his shot in the dark? That's a pretty bold move.
The shot in the dark is just that. It is just a shot in the dark. It is a pretty slim chance that you could be saved.
Yeah, it works sometimes though.
It does, but it is a shot in the dark. So it wasn't that. It's not like giving someone your idol.
Right.
It is not anywhere near giving someone your idol. So it was the right move for Christian to do because he had lost so much credibility with Azie. And if he wanted the vote to go his way, which was to vote out Angelina, it was something that he had to do.
Okay.
It was risky, but it wasn't that risky. Just not the same stakes as an idol.
True. Do you think Azie should have pushed to get Christian voted off since he had the shot in the dark? He could have got the numbers. Get rid of him.
Well, Azie for a while wanted Angelina out. It was what Azie wanted as well. So whether that's the right move or not, it was what Azie wanted.
So it was a safe move.
It was a safe move.
For him.
And I think all of them thought that Angelina didn't really have much of an alliance with anybody. And so it really was the safe move. The next vote, well, I guess they're all going to be in a merge now. So now they're going to have more people to align with.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Angelina was always a number.
Yeah.
I mean, she was with Mike and Christian. So Christian's done his alleged alliance from David and Goliath. He's got rid of both of them.
Yeah.
So he's a big liar.
Yeah.
He's a manipulator. So, but that's Survivor.
Yeah.
All right. So they end up going, those two tribes end up going to tribal council. The first one with Vatu, we get something I haven't seen before with Survivor and Jeff.
This is the play of the day.
Play of the day.
My very favorite part of this episode.
Yeah. So I can't remember what set it up, but Jeff decides to do some impersonations.
Well, yeah, because they were saying they wanted to tempt the other teams because, many players had not been to tribal council. And so they wanted to sell to the other players how great it was to go to tribal council, that they were getting all this food at tribal council and wine. And that's how the whole wine topic got brought up. But Jeff then started doing some impersonations and he was really good at it.
Yeah.
It was my favorite part of the episode.
Yeah, he nailed Christian pretty good. Did a great job with Jonathan and Colby. So it was fun. It was fun to watch. So far we got Jeff rapping.
Yeah.
We got Jeff doing impersonations.
Yeah.
What's next?
I can't wait to see.
Yeah, man of many talents.
Yeah. Yep.
So Vatu, they do talk their talk, end up voting. Angelina's gone. She did her thing with the coat.
Yep.
I mean, that's really all I know her for is like she asked for a coat in her initial season, didn't get it. And so everybody's like talking about it. Not very memorable.
Yeah. I mean, we all expected it. And then we got to go to Kahlo, right?
Yep. This one was a little more intriguing because we hadn't seen them before.
That's right. It was
the
fun.
Whole
yeah.
Bad Blood plan. And so we got to hear from them. So that was fun to watch.
Yeah. It was really great. And Camila did, in fact, have the deciding vote. And so Charlie is out of the game. And I do think his demise was focusing a bit too much on Rizzo. And he lost track of the rest of the game. And he was, as Camila said, a little bit late.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the crux of it.
Yep.
He responded too late. He showed up to talk to Rizzo that morning too late.
Too late.
He'd already started making plans to get him out.
And you know what? I liked him in the beginning, but he did get hyper-focused on Rizzo, and so, yeah, that's how it goes.
So, and I don't know, I have no thoughts either way on him.
Yeah.
Same with Angelina.
Yep.
So,
yeah, that's fine.
I didn't have a strong of a reaction as I have previous tribals.
I mean, Mike White.
Yeah. Up until this one, I mean, I was angry or disappointed that the person got voted out. This one, I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh well.
2 players that we expected, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked about the merge. It's coming up.
Yep.
Any predictions or potential alliances that could wreck the game, or in a good way, wreck the game for the players outside of that alliance?
Well, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with Suri now that she is able to unite with some of her, friends. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how that goes. Stephanie's probably going to be in a better situation.
Yeah, she'll be happy.
She'll and Aubrey. I think Aubrey is going to find herself some more alliances. So I think that'll be really good.
Okay. Yeah, I think with Jonathan and Devins being surprised at that vote and being left out of that decision, I think they're going to look elsewhere.
Yep.
So I think if they're smart, they're going to align with Coach Colby and Joe and whoever else wants to be with them. But I think that would be a power alliance right there.
It'll be interesting to see an all-male alliance. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to see more people have access to more people.
Yeah, finally see them do some confessionals and interact with other people. Because I think that has been the biggest disappointment so far in this season is just it's all Vatu.
Yeah.
It's all this same group of people, which they have to do because that's the structure of the show.
Yeah.
But it seems like they try to come up with some better way to make the teams more even once it starts to go down that route.
Which, I mean, they have done, right? They did a tribe swap. I mean, poor Vatu just...
Well, they make dumb decisions about strong people.
They made really dumb decisions, yeah.
So, but as far as this all-girl alliance, so I've talked about there's this all-male power alliance, and then on the other side, there's this female alliance. Do you think it'll divide into male-female for the most part?
I think so, yeah. I don't think it's smart to have like men versus women alliances because
they both have their strengths and weaknesses.
That's right. Yeah.
But I can see Genevieve and Aubrey aligning with, and even Camila aligning with the males and everybody else. Rick, I think I can see Rick going over to the other side of it's all female type thing. But so I don't think it'll be like straight down the middle. I think there'll be some mix. I think there'll be a majority of men, majority of women with some other genders mixed in with it. But
we'll see. All I care is that Christian and Emily get kicked out.
Yeah.
Sooner rather than later.
Okay. So you're voting for them to go as soon as they can.
They're driving me crazy. Yeah. Emily plays the innocent and she knows exactly what she's doing, and Christian plays like he doesn't, like he also has no idea what's going on, and he knows exactly what he's doing too. And they're both so calculated and also not trustworthy. So
yeah, okay. For your play of the day, you mentioned Jeff. Okay, so that's your vote. My play of the day is Joe. Started out really slow. They got behind. They were able to catch up, and they won the challenge because he redeemed himself at the end by getting the bean bags on the little.
It was interesting that Charlie even said, "I've never seen Joe so gassed."
Yeah.
Right.
I wonder if that's going to keep happening.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see.
Yeah. So I thought that was my play that he redeemed himself. What about the fail of the day, the blunder of the day?
The blunder of the day was probably Rizzo lying to Camila about that Kyle told him that he should play with Camila.
Yeah. Because
Camila saw right through it. She's like, he didn't have enough time to even talk to Kyle, so that's bullcrap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's funny because Rizzo got mad at Charlie for lying to him about was it Jonathan? It's like, he didn't say, you made that up. I'm voting him out. And then he did the same thing.
He did the same thing, and she saw right through it too. So that was probably a little blunder of the day.
Yeah. And it's funny because I saw Kyle posted on his Instagram, like whether or not he was watching the show, but it was like me watching Rizzo lie to Camila about our conversation that never happened or something. Yeah. And Kyle's like, he looks at the camera, what? What is he doing? Why is he lying about me? So that was funny. Yeah. But my blunder of the day would have to be the kind of similar thing with the Rizzo Charlie thing where Charlie was just too late.
Yeah.
I mean, he's playing behind.
Yep.
And maybe it's just the way they edit it. I don't know. But because it does seem pretty weird that he would be so behind the story.
Well, we know that he was behind because Camila said it.
Confessional of the night. The best confessional. Any thoughts there?
I don't have any favorites. The only one that was memorable was Rizzo's, and not for good reasons.
So, confessional of the night for the most annoying.
For the most annoying, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I liked Azie's. He was, after he woke up the next morning, it's like, kind of overreacted, but I don't trust Christian. I thought he had some good insight there.
Yeah.
So I liked that.
Yeah.
So was this the right elimination for each tribe?
Sure. Yeah. I think it was.
Yeah, I think so. So up next, we got the merge. Be very fun to see how that goes down. Any final thoughts on this episode? Final takes?
I liked it because I liked that the producers framed it in a way that will get things moving.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is my least favorite episode of the season so far. But like you said, it catapults us into the next stage.
Except that the challenge was one of the best.
True. That was a fun challenge to watch. Yeah. That's a good point. All right. Well, thanks guys for watching. Thanks for participating with us. Definitely like and comment on the video. Let us know what you thought of the eliminations. Was Angelina and Charlie the right call? What about Rizzo? Do you have an opinion on Rizzo? From what I see online, it's we love him. Oh, he's the most annoying. There doesn't seem to be much middle ground with him. So where do you stand at? Let us know in the comments. And we want to thank you guys for watching. And we will catch you guys next time as we review episode 6.
Sounds good.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.